Think about the quietest person you know. Maybe it's someone at work, a family member, or even yourself. They don't say much. They sit back. They listen. And most people in the room assume there's nothing much going on behind those eyes. But what if everything you assumed about quiet people was completely wrong? Because science says the person saying the least in the room is often the one thinking the most. We live in a world that loves the sound of its own voice. From classrooms to boardrooms, the loudest person is usually seen as the smartest, the most confident, the most worthy of attention. We reward people who speak up fast, who fill silences, who always seem to have something to say. And the quiet ones? They get labeled shy, antisocial, disinterested, maybe even a little strange. But here's the truth that psychology has been quietly revealing for years. People who don't talk much aren't broken. They aren't lacking. In many ways, they are operating at a level most people simply never reach. So let's get into it. The first thing to understand is that quiet people are not quiet because something went wrong. Their brains are literally wired differently. Research in neuroscience shows that introverted people, the ones who tend to say less, have higher baseline activity in their brains even when they're sitting completely still. Think of it like a computer that's already running multiple programs in the background. While an extrovert's brain is looking outward for stimulation, the quiet person's brain is already busy, processing, connecting ideas, reflecting on what just happened. This is why a loud, crowded room can feel genuinely exhausting to someone who doesn't talk much. It's not that they hate people. It's that their brain is already doing a lot of heavy lifting. Add a room full of noise on top of that, and it's simply too much. They go quiet not because they have nothing to offer, but because they need to protect their mental energy. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because being quiet isn't just a preference. It comes with a set of abilities that most people completely overlook. And one of them might genuinely change the way you see the quietest people in your life. When people sit in a group and don't fight for airtime, they aren't tuning out. They're doing something far more valuable. They're watching. Research confirms that quiet individuals in group settings often notice what others miss entirely. While everyone else is busy preparing their next sentence, the quiet person is actually listening. They pick up on the small things, the shift in someone's tone, the tension between two people that nobody's addressed yet, the idea that got talked over and forgotten. They are, without any fanfare, reading the room better than anyone else in it. And when they do finally speak, because they process before responding rather than thinking out loud, they're less likely to say things they don't mean and more likely to have something genuinely worth hearing. There's a reason people tend to lean in when the quiet person in the group finally opens their mouth. There is also something deeply trustworthy about people who don't talk much. Because they tend to be private themselves, quiet people are often the best people to share your secrets with. They don't overshare. They don't gossip for attention. When you tell them something important, it stays there. And in a world where people talk constantly about everything and everyone, that kind of person is genuinely rare. Now, it's worth asking, is every quiet person the same? Not exactly. Some people are quiet because of shyness or anxiety, and that's a different story. But a great many quiet people simply have a different relationship with words. They see language as something purposeful, not something to fill the air with. They speak when they have something meaningful to contribute, and they stay silent when they don't. That's not a flaw. That is, if anything, a form of discipline that most people never develop. Studies find that quiet leaders often do better than their louder counterparts. They listen, take fewer unnecessary risks, and allow good ideas from others to be heard. History backs this up. Some of the most impactful thinkers, creators, and leaders have been people who said very little in public but thought deeply in private. So the next time you're in a room and someone is sitting quietly while everyone else talks over each other, don't mistake their silence for emptiness. Because the quietest people are often carrying the richest inner worlds. They are watching what you're not watching, thinking what you haven't thought of yet, and waiting for the right moment to say the one thing that actually matters. Silence, it turns out, is not the absence of something. It's often the presence of everything. If this video made you think of someone in your life, a friend, a family member, or maybe even yourself, share it with them. It might just be the thing they needed to hear. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do it. We cover topics like this one every week, and we'd love to have you with us.